Josh Green here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by my good friend Adam Smith this morning. A couple of days now have passed since we've seen the outcome of Fury Usyk. How are you doing, Adam?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, what a weekend. Massive one, obviously, for boxing, the finish of the Premier League, the golf late last night, sport everywhere. Watching my old company, Sky, pretty much all of it. But yeah, I enjoyed doing the watch along on TalkSport on Saturday night. Fabulous fight, wonderful occasion, and a super victory for Oleksandr Usyk. It was just what boxing needed, I think, after all the hype and the build-up and the waiting a quarter of a century for an undisputed clash in the blue ribbon division, and we got it. We got a terrific encounter, wasn't it? It was fascinating, gripping. It had everything, and yeah, it was a fight that lived up to what the Ring of Fire and the King of Kings and everything else they were calling it. It was brilliant, and I'm really happy for the sport.
I've seen the clip going around of yourself, Spencer, and Adam, and all the guys going when during round 9 when Oleksandr was really putting the pressure on Tyson. It looked, although at that point he might be getting the knockout. The emotions, have they calmed down now since then?
Well, absolutely. I think it just shows, doesn't it? We're all passionate about what we do. Sonny and Spencer and Adam and I loved it. You know, we were all split beforehand. We weren't sure how it was going to go. I think I was leaning slightly towards Fury on points. Sonny was leaning slightly towards Usyk. It was one of those. I think you could find so many different outcomes to the fight beforehand, and as it unfolded, it looked like Oleksandr had got a terrific start, got body shots flying out, really took center ring, got in a rhythm. Fury came back at him, won many of those middle rounds for me. I thought he really found his range, starting to apply his own body shots. That uppercut was working a treat. And it looked like Oleksandr then was the 3 stone lighter. It really looked like he was so much physically bigger, Fury, and he found his timing and distance. And then it all turns on its head again in the 9th round. So yeah, it was dramatic. And I think that's what happens, isn't it? When you're so involved and invested in the sport, you just lose the plot a bit, and I think that's what shows the sort of mayhem that was going on. And I love the bit where Sonny goes, just shut up, no one can hear what we're saying. And it's right, everyone's shouting over everybody. But I think sometimes that is the moment, isn't it? That it gets all of you, and that's why we do it. We love what we do, and it was an absolute pleasure to watch 2 guys at elite level, the best in the world, and with AJ sitting there as well. It was fantastic, and especially in the heavyweight division too, where there are real high skills on display for me, feints and movement and the judging of distance and all of that. It was great for the casuals. They had that the drama at the end of the 9th round, and would Fury sort of hang on again? And then for the trade, for the purists, you had brilliant boxing skills in a tight affair, and one I thought Oleksandr Usyk thoroughly deserved to win.
As you mentioned there, Fury had a fair portion of the early rounds and was certainly on top during the middle rounds. Where did you see the momentum shift? The sort of flurry in the 9th was obviously a big part of that, but it did seem maybe in the 8th round is where Usyk started getting on top. Where did the momentum shift come from, and why do you think that happened?
I've heard people call it a fight of 3/3, you know, the first more to Usyk, then Fury, then Usyk again. I think 1 or 2 of those rounds were tougher to score. I think the second was, I think maybe the 10th or 11th, it was such a blur really, and I haven't watched it back. But my gut feeling was the first 6 minutes were crucial to the fight. And I thought that if Usyk had got into a rhythm, Fury was going to struggle. And he did. He got into a nice rhythm. Fury came back at him in the second round, the back end of the second round, and everyone was going Usyk, but I wasn't sure about that second round. I thought maybe Usyk won the first minute 45, 2 minutes, then Fury definitively won the last minute. So that was one of those you could have gone either way with. So if you're looking at Usyk being 2-3 up, then you're into a little bit of a lead. But if it's sort of level there, then you go into the next part where, for me, it was all Fury. I thought he won like definitely 4 rounds in a row. But yeah, you're right. The sort of 8th, Usyk got a second wind, and he came out and he went back to what he was doing right at the beginning. And then he looked in real control, apart from times where Fury came back at him in the last 6-7 minutes. But that ninth round was so dramatic, and in some people's eyes should have been stopped. I mean, the bell was there, the ref was there. He was given everything, wasn't he, Tyson? Plus that minute to recover. And we asked him in the studio whether it would be a minute would be enough. And I remember Spencer saying, "No way is that enough. You know, he's not going to make it." And to be fair to him and his team and the conditioning that Tyson Fury was in, and the comeback ability that he has, the man, it was incredible to see him go through. And it was brilliant that he went the distance, I think. So as much as I understand why people think it may have been stopped in that ninth round, and I'm sure if there were a few more seconds it would have been. But I actually, as a fight fan, really enjoyed the fact it went the full distance. So we got to see whether Fury could come back and maybe in that last round try and get the knockdown or something to level it up or even nick it. But for me, Oleksandr Usyk won by 2, probably 3 rounds, something like that. I have to go back and score it properly again. It was all a bit manic in the studio, but I certainly felt he won the fight. And I thought he won the fight, not comfortably, not sort of like that, but I thought he won it well. And I was surprised that there was a split decision. For me, Usyk won the fight and cemented his place as not only one of the all-time greats, which he knew before, but a complete phenomenon and somebody that's surely top of the pound-for-pound list now. And all due respect to Terence Crawford and Noah Inoue and all the other guys fighting for that, you know, that's the one we all debate about, the pound for pound. But for me, as a heavyweight as well, and somebody who's come up and just turned the cruiserweight division on its head, won Olympic gold and everything else before him, 335 amateur wins, there can be no other person at the top of that pound for pound list than Oleksandr Usyk. And what a lovely guy, and what an amazingly emotional time for him and his country, going through a savage war, a very, very difficult time for Ukraine. And here's a guy that went on the front line, you know, moved his family to safety, that is that family man, and he's been waiting and waiting patiently for his chance, and he took it. And fair play. I mean, the both of them deserve enormous respect and credit. I thought it was a great fight, and Tyson Fury was terrific as well at times. But for me, it was Oleksandr Usyk's night, and he deservedly is crowned the undisputed heavyweight champion, and the first since Lennox Lewis. It's brilliant for the sport, and what's great, Josh, is that it delivered. All the hype and all the build-up, and at times nonsense, as there always is, and people saying, "Oh, you know, is it going to be any good? Will it be a chess match?" All of that. I loved it. I don't know about you, but I thought it was great.
You mentioned there that obviously one judge scored in favour of Fury, 114, 113. Tyson obviously thought he won the fight. He said that in his post-fight press conference. He said that in the corner, his team from the last 2 rounds were telling them he was up in the fight. He was going to win the fight, and he just needed to box for those 2 rounds. Can you see a scenario where Tyson won the fight?
Many people had it close. Some scored it. I think Richie Woodall in the feed we were watching scored it a draw. A lot had it to Usyk that I spoke to by same sort of margin as I did, 2-3. Some had it wider at 4, maybe 5. I think the viewers poll on Sky was 4 up to Usyk. You know, commentary can sway too. We watched it with the sound down. The 4 of us in studio were in no doubt who won the fight. That's what we felt. It's subjective. The fighters are in there. They may be feeling different things. Also, Sugar Hill and Andy Lee are 2 of the most experienced and, in my eyes, best cornermen in the business. So maybe they did see it that way. Maybe they gave some of those earlier rounds, those first 3 to Fury, because he definitively won that section in the middle. There's no question about that. So then if you give him a 1 maybe earlier, even 2, and then 1 or 2 down the backstretch, it does completely tighten it up, and maybe even gives Fury a tight victory win, but not for me. Usyk won enough of those rounds, whether it was 7-5 and the knockdown to make it 3-point deficit. It was something along those lines. I think if it had been a draw or a Fury win, I certainly would have felt that was the wrong result. I don't think it would have been a robbery or a disgrace. No way. It was a close fight, and it was a tight fight during some of the rounds, and 1 or 2 of those were really difficult to score. But I think over the course of the fight, and obviously with what happened in the 9th round, for me, Oleksandr Usyk won the fight, and Oleksandr Usyk deserves to be the undisputed champion, no question. But there is a rematch. Does Tyson Fury deserve to do it all over again, the rematch? Of course he does. He was brilliant on the night. In my opinion, Oleksandr Usyk was that little bit better. I thought it was just his most perfect display in many ways. I mean, David and Goliath, a 3 stone weight difference. He's beaten AJ twice, legitimately. Wider, I thought, the first time, but both times I nearly stopped him in the 12th round. And everyone was saying, Oleksandr Usyk's punch power is going to make no difference. Well, he nearly stopped AJ in the first fight, right at the end of their fight. He nearly stopped Tyson Fury. So maybe they'll be thinking differently about that. I think the truth is, both AJ and Tyson Fury are elite heavyweights and 2 of the best heavyweights that we've ever seen, certainly of our era. But this guy, Oleksandr Usyk, is a magician, and he's done it at cruiserweight. He's done it through the amateurs, winning everything as an unpaid fighter. And look what he's done. Unified the cruiserweight division, undisputed, winning the Super Series, coming up, having everyone said he's not big enough, criticising performances against Derek Chisora and others. I thought he won comfortably against Derek Chisora and other fights. Okay, the Dubois fight was the one that people were questioning to the body. Fighters can have off nights. Tyson had an off night against John McDermott. Also, he had an off night against Francis Ngannou. He's also had some amazing nights and some unbelievable wins against Deontay Wilder, and Dillian White was almost effortless, and fantastic success, Tyson Fury. So for me, Tyson Fury is, has been unbelievable for the sport, both in and out of the ring. And it's not over. He's got a rematch. He could win the rematch. Then AJ's out there. There's others as well, the heavyweights in a couple of weeks' time, Zhilei Zhang and Deontay Wilder, Dubois and Hrgovic. What a great time for heavyweight boxing. Fantastic what Turki Al-Sheikh and Dr. Rakan and all the guys over there, Spencer Brown, George Warren, Eddie and Frank Smith, everybody that's put this together. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. It was a great card as well, with Anthony Kakacha was brilliant against Joe Cordina. You had Jaya Pitara as well. Fantastic card. Turkey's favourite, Mark Chamberlain, getting the win as well. I really like Ajit Kabayel. I think he's great. I think he was great when I saw him against Magdamov over there in Saudi. I thought he was fantastic. I said to the guys before the Santos fight, I said, I really like this guy. I really like him. He'll chip away and he'll break this guy's heart. So it was good for once, Josh, to get one right. I'm not sure I got the main event right, because I was like this and that and this and that. Well, I think Usyk can win if he gets in a rhythm. And I think he can. I think he's the better technical guy, and he's got the speed and the ring craft. But I kept leaning back towards what I first thought when the fight was announced, which was Tyson Fury will find a way. He very nearly did. I don't get that his corner think maybe that he was in the lead. Some of those rounds, they say, were hard to score. My feeling was that Usyk was, but the 3 judges are the ones that count. We always say that. 2 went to Usyk, 1 went to Fury. For me, the score, I think it was 115, 112 to Oleksandr Usyk, was just about the right one for me. But I wouldn't quibble if it was 1 or 2. Oleksandr Usyk won the fight. I don't know what you think, Josh, but that's what I felt.
Yeah, I had it 115, 112 for what it's worth. My colleague Ayman Khan spoke to a former colleague of yours, Mr. Johnny Nelson, yesterday, and he described Tyson Fury as a walking contradiction. We know some of the comments that were made in the lead up to the fight, describing Usyk as a middleweight, sort of referencing the size difference quite clearly on multiple occasions. He obviously now come out on the wrong side of the result to Oleksandr Usyk, and I think it would be fair to say there were moments of showboating, possibly moments of disrespect as well in the lead up and during the fight. Do you see Fury as a contradiction at all?
I think Tyson Fury is Tyson Fury. We know what we're going to get in that way, in that he's going to say different things and polarize opinion. But as I said, we know what he's going to say. He's unpredictable, so we don't know what he's going to say. What I mean is he's Marmite. He polarizes it all. He says what he believes. One day he wakes up, he thinks one thing. One day he thinks another thing. What I do know deep down, he's got enormous amounts of respect for Oleksandr Usyk, and always has, and vice versa. These guys, they can play around with the press, with the media. They can invoke mind games and various other stuff in build-ups and have fun. And this is where they get big followings and create characters, personalities, which is why we're fascinated with the sport, why we want to watch them. That's the important thing, isn't it? Whether you love Tyson Fury or hate him, you want to watch him. So no, I don't think it's any problem at all. And that's what he does. I don't think he's any different to what he's always done, or certainly what he's done ever since he had the comeback from being, what, 24, 25 stone, and he's sort of laid it all on the line, been very open about mental health, been very open about his feelings and how he can change and one day think one thing, one day think another thing. But I've spoken to Tyson enough over the years to know how much he respects other fighters. He respects Anthony Joshua immensely. He respects Oleksandr Usyk, everyone that gets in the ring, and especially the ones at top level. But of course, he's going to, you know, say the lines, the sausage, the this, the that. But you know, this is why he sort of, you know, love to have him in the circus. I mean, he's you know, he's playing his role, isn't he? But boy, can he fight! You know, Tyson Fury's a phenomenal boxer. Always has been. Wonderful, wonderful to see him through the amateur professional ranks, and you know, utilizing his height and reach, his speed, his slightly unorthodox way of boxing, I guess. But it's fantastic. It's worked for him. It's been brilliant. And there's some people that think he looks a bit clumsy at times. He uses his weight. I think he showed again on Saturday night when he boxes. He can be quite breathtaking. He's fantastic, you know, when he gets those skills going. Didn't think he got his jab utilised well enough in those first 2, 3, 4 rounds. That was probably a mistake, but I think he was quite surprised at the way Usyk took it to him so quickly. I mean, the pace that Usyk set, the rhythm, the cutting the corners was just absolutely brilliant. But no, Tyson Fury is going to say what he says. I think there is respect afterwards. He said he won the fight, and maybe, yeah, he should have congratulated Oleksandr a little bit more and said it was your night. But obviously, that's what they felt, and it's the heat of battle. And you know, he's watched it back, probably thinks the same. Maybe he thinks he won the fight, and that'll be the fuel he needs for the rematch. Others will say, you know, can he get himself up for it? Again, it's his first defeat. He's never lost before officially, so this will be very interesting to see how he recovers. He's got multi millions in the bank, but Tyson Fury's a fighter. And I think Tyson Fury will be back stronger. I think he'll have learned from that. I think he'll go back to the drawing board. And I think he'll find a way that he believes he can win the rematch comfortably. I think Oleksandr Usyk will feel he can win it comfortably now. He's shown that he can last with the 12 rounds with Tyson Fury. And not just that, but hurt him and have him on the very, very brink of stoppage as well. And then there's the people that are going to say Tyson Fury's on the slight decline, that he was hit a little bit too easier, and that the 9th round was just a show, but you know, he used those recuperation powers. I don't think you can keep going to the well. I think with Tyson, you know, he's had those massive sort of great nights, and then the sort of slight falls, and in other fights haven't been quite as good, been a bit lackluster and stale. Whereas for me, Usyk's been very, very consistent, methodical, dedicated, disciplined. You know, never ever out of shape. He's a little bit like his little friend Vasyl Lomachenko. They're just two wizards, aren't they? They're two wizards from the Ukraine who've set the world, you know, alight in many ways. Maybe not in their boxing styles, because it's more, we can appreciate them as purists, but just in what they've done, what they've achieved coming out of Ukraine, coming out of the situations that they have, not the easiest in growing up, and what they've done for their country and coming out like that. It's you've got to take your hats off to both of them and what they've done, and I think it's been fantastic. And I think they have, you know, they've thoroughly deserved their success, the pair of them, and seeing that both of them have great wins in the last, you know, few days has been brilliant. But you know, Usyk's got the big win. But no, I don't think Tyson Fury, he'll probably say he's a contradiction, because he wakes up every day and he says something different. Of course, that's what he is. But do I think there's a lack of respect there for fighters? No. Ultimately, I think he really does respect them. And I do know, and I've known for a long time, that he wants to fight Anthony Joshua, and that's not a running away from him. And the same with AJ. Fighters want to fight. And I think you'll see in 10 years' time, you get Fury, Usyk, and AJ in a room together. I think the three of them will be like Holyfield and Lewis and Tyson are now.
You talk about the rematch there and maybe what Tyson has to do. We know that's set for provisionally October time. What do you believe that Tyson Fury has to do in that rematch to turn things around and make it 1-1?
Start quicker. You mentioned the showboating. He probably thought he was going to have it easier. He probably thought Usyk couldn't hurt him. He learned a hard lesson in the 9th round. Now he does know he can be hurt. I think he'll have to really be on his toes a lot more. And I think maybe he'll have to try and back up Usyk a bit too, because he did get sort of run around a lot, and Usyk did find a way of taking the ring away from Fury in many ways, backing him up. Fury needed more room, and when he found that in the middle part of the fight, he got real success when he had Usyk at range, he was brilliant the way he was unleashing those long, lethal shots, from all angles. I thought he was fantastic. So more of that, better jab, start quicker, and there's no reason why he couldn't win the rematch. But Usyk will start favourite next time because of what he's done this time. He won the fight, and he'll grow in confidence from that as well. He's the youngest 37-year-old probably in the world, and Tyson might be one of the oldest 35-year-olds. So there's that to look at too. But it's still going to be, these two could do 36 rounds of boxing, and it's going to be like that. And with AJ and Usyk, everyone says, okay, he lost twice, AJ. He was better in that rematch, and he's improving under Ben Davison again. Looked fantastic. So you wouldn't say no to an AJ Usyk third fight down the line. There's so many different permutations of the lot. There's so many different ways it could work out. But I do believe that AJ and Fury is still the fight people want to see. So let's see what happens in the second fight, the rematch. Let's see if AJ wins in September against Hrgovic or Dubois. Let's see what happens. And by the end of the year, the path should be clear either to AJ Fury for the undisputed, or if Usyk has still got the undisputed, AJ's got a choice. Does he take Fury or does he go for the Usyk rematch? It'll probably become undisputed because that's always been his intention. And then the Tyson Fury AJ fight still waits. But that fight will always sell. We know that. That fight will sell this year, next year, or in 3 years' time. Even when they're really old, that fight still sells. We got Khan Brook way too late. We just don't want it too late. But that sells, and let's hope that's at Wembley.
Final one from me. We didn't fully touch on that 9th round and Fury being wobbled. At that point, did you think that the fight could have been stopped? I mean, I think there's certainly an argument to be said that in other instances, when it wasn't undisputed and it wasn't a fighter with Fury's history, it could have been stopped.
Yes, I think you can look at it like that. You can look at it. Some people have said if it was Usyk in that position, would he have been stopped? I think that's a little unfair. Referee's got a job to do in there. Mind who's the A, the B fighter, or who's the champion that you want, you don't want. The referee's in there to do an unbiased job. He's there to protect the fighter. If he thought Tyson Fury couldn't continue, he would have waved it off. I thought it was very close, and definitely the ropes, the bell. Maybe the referee gave him that extra little helping hand. I don't know. I don't think the referee really should be criticised. And I saw somebody I really respect, Luke Campbell, online saying it definitely should have been stopped. It was a disgrace. I think it is an undisputed fight. And as we saw, if Tyson Fury had come out for the 10th round and been all over the place, and then you worry about his health and the referee could have stopped it there and then people would have said, yes, he should have. But he didn't. He came back, he found his legs again, and he boxed to the end of the fight. So although in many ways Oleksandr was sort of that bit was taken away, that sort of crowning moment of the stoppage win. I don't have many problems with it. I think the fact is that Fury came back and he showed that the recuperation powers were there, and that I think that would have been more controversial. It would have been like Fury had barely gone mad, the Fury camp, and it would all have turned really nasty. And at the end of the day, you got 12 rounds, you got a decision. Fury can be disappointed that he lost, but one judge scored it to him. The right man won. Oleksandr Usyk, however the cards have it. So we got the right result. And I think that's the most important thing to look back on, and the drama for the casual fans in the 9th round. But it was that close for me to being stopped, or should have been stopped. But the bell saved him, and he went out to round 10. And we go on to a big week, Josh. We got GBM on Friday night at York Hall. Can't wait for that show. It's a packed show. Benjamin and Ballingstall, and we've got Tyson Gallagher and Stevie Levy and Razor and Lithgow in an unbeaten matchup, and Michael King and Tommy Welsh, all sorts on there. Fantastic night Friday. Lawrence Okoli out in Poland. Can't wait to see how he does in that fight on foreign soil. Really looking forward to it. My business partner Duncan's going out there, part of his corner. And then on Saturday night, the big one, we've got Taylor and Cattrall 2. What a fight it was before. What a controversial outcome that was, and big debate, and controversy sparks interest, and Eddie's whipped them up again, and here we go in Leeds on Saturday. Can't wait for it. Great nights ahead. So boxing's thriving, and then it's the 5v5, so you almost can't draw a breath after the weekend, but we should draw a breath just to acknowledge Oleksandr Usyk as one of the greatest sportsmen alive today. He's been unbelievably professional, consummate professional, wonderful to work with. a very intelligent and curious and nice guy, a family man who was, you know, missed the birth of his young daughter Maria during all of the build up and all that, and that's tough. That's tough. Tyson goes, as he said, goes back to his 7 kids, I think it is, with Paris, in Morecambe, and yeah, they both go home a lot richer, and they both go home with pride most certainly intact, and they can look back at an extraordinary battle they had for the undisputed. Both can be immensely proud, but for me, Oleksandr Usyk takes all the treasure and just has the victory of his career, and yeah, I'm delighted for him.
Adam, always great to get your insight. Really appreciate your time this morning, bright and early, and yeah, look forward to catching up soon.
Cheers, Josh. Take care. Have a good week.